Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Digital Den mini class. This is part 2 of our Back to Basics computers series. If you have never used a computer before, this is the series for you. And it also will serve as a great refresher if it has been an extended, really long time since you've used one. In the first part, we went over how to use the mouse, and it's also going to be applied to this video, as we're going to be talking about word processing, how to use the keyboard. Now, specifically, we'll be talking about how to use a QWERTY keyboard, is what this is called, which is the most commonly used type of keyboard. There are a few different variations, but if you have a computer at home, you go to the public library, you go to wherever a computer will be found, this keyboard called the QWERTY keyboard is what you will see. And if you're curious as to why it is called QWERTY, that is because it spells the word QWERTY here. It's QWERTY on this side, on the left side of the keyboard, and that is where the keyboard gets its name. So if you have used a keyboard before, but you don't find yourself to be a very speedy typer, you may find yourself kind of like picking at the keys there, and that is totally okay to start. And with this keyboard, it will take quite a bit of practice to be able to get to the place where you are typing fluidly and you are, typing quickly. But I have been typing for decades, and I still make mistakes. It happens. Everyone makes mistakes on here. That's why it's great that we have the backspace and delete keys. But the more times that we make mistakes, the more times that we learn, and the better that we're going to get at typing. So without further ado, let's jump into how to use the keyboard. Before we dive in, if you're watching this on a TV screen or on a mobile device and you do not have a keyboard to be able to practice with, there is a website that I want you to write down. It is learnfree.org. Learnfree.org is run by Goodwill, over the folks over at Goodwill. If you're not familiar with how to get online, don't worry. You can always come to the library here, and we will be able to get you onto the website. Learnfree.org has got tons of different classes and topics of things that you can do for free, but it has the best typing class that I have ever seen on there. So if you click on topics in the top right corner, and then you click on under basic skills here, you click on typing tutorial. And then lastly, you'll just click on typing here. The thing that makes it so great is it has like just a learn option, so that you can click on that and you can dive into the program where you can hit start, and you can go through their full course. But the cool thing is, whether you hit learn or practice, it pulls up this little game board right here, and it will teach you the best typing techniques and break things down by the letter. So you will go slowly through the course here until you have gotten to the point where you can do full and complete sentences, and you should be able to do that with the full typing of all of your fingers instead of just picking with just a couple of pointer fingers there. So learnfree.org, I highly recommend it. Whether you're taking this or you're watching this on your TV screen, mobile device, or on a computer, it is super helpful. So make sure to check it out.
All right, let's get started. On the screen, you should see a standard keyboard. Looking at it all at once like this, it might be overwhelming for you, and it might feel like the letters are all thrown together randomly. But don't worry, we'll break it down and make it as easy as possible. Let's take a look at just the letters for a bit. Don't even worry about any of the rest of the keys around them. So, let's just look at the 3 rows in the middle. From Q to P, that will be our top row. From A to L will be our middle row, which is also known as the home row. And from Z to M, that will be our bottom row. Okay? Take a look at the home row. Look at every individual letter and see if you can notice anything that stands out on some of the letters. You should notice that under the letters F and J, there's a little line there. These small bumps or ridges are called homing bars, and they actually protrude from the keyboard. They are used so that you can locate those letters without having to look at the keyboard. This is where you will place your index fingers on each hand, just like that. Your left index finger will go on the F, and your right index finger will go on the J. Now, let's put the rest of the fingers on the right keys. On your left hand, you will continue to move left from the F. So your left middle finger will go on the D, your left ring finger will go on the S, and your left pinky will go on the A. And now for the thumb, where does that go? Well, that is going to go on the space bar. So when you put it all together, it will look like this. Now for the right hand. We already know that the J is where we're going to put our index finger, but we're going to continue to move right from there. So we're going to have J, and then our middle finger will go on the K, and then from there we will go to the L and the semicolon. Can't really see that, but you can kind of J, K, L, semicolon. And then just like in the left hand, we will use the space bar to be where we rest our thumbs. So this is what the standard starting position for your hands looks like. And the nice thing is that with these homing bars that we have here, we can look away, we can move our hands, and we can quickly find where we are supposed to rest our hands because of these little ridges. Okay? Now at this point, if you are watching this video on a computer that has a keyboard right there in front of you, we are going to be practicing some typing, but instead of actually pressing down on the keys, I'm going to recommend that you just lift your finger and place it down where the key is supposed to go, okay? Because if you press down on the keys while you're watching the video, it may stop or pause or jump ahead or something, and we don't want to disturb the lesson, okay? All right, so place your hands where they are supposed to go on the keyboard. And we are going to learn how to type the letters F and J, okay? These are your index finger buttons. Remember that F is left and J is right. When I tell you to press on F, I want you to lift your index finger and place it back down on F. When I tell you to press on J, I want you to lift your index finger and place it back down on J. Okay? Ready? F. J, F, J, F, F, J, J. Pretty good, right? Pretty easy. Now that's just 2 keys, of course, and there are 26 letters in the alphabet, so we've got a little bit of work ahead of us. Now let's move on to our middle fingers. On our left middle finger, we've got the D key, and on our right middle finger, we've got the K key. Let's do it just the same as we did before by lifting our finger and placing it back down on the appropriate key whenever I tell you which to press. Okay? D, K, K, D, D, K, D, K, D, K. Pretty easy, right? Bouncing back and forth between these keys. Now let's add some of the pointer fingers that we just learned about into the mix. J, D, K, F, F, J, K, D, F. Adding in a couple extra letters does make it a little bit more complicated. Now, I mentioned this bar down here at the bottom. I called it the space bar, and if you've never seen a keyboard before, you might go, what in the world is that? Well, a space bar is the button that will add spaces in between words. So if we are typing a word like the word dark, so I type in D-A-R-K. Now, if I typed it like the way that I should, I will use my middle finger, I will use my pinky, I will use my my index finger and my middle finger to be able to type all of the correct letters. Now, after I have typed the word dark, I'm going to press the space bar to be able to add space between that word and whatever the next word that I would like to type is. Make sense? Okay. So, As you are practicing your keys, I'd like for you to start typing, and it doesn't have to actually make coherent words, but I want for you to be typing some like letters and then adding spaces in between. And to add spaces, you're going to use your thumb. It doesn't matter which one, since this is both of their resting spots. Like add spaces in between these words that you are making with these keys that we've talked about so far. Now, as we continue to move down on this home row, our ring fingers on each hand will be typing on the S and the L keys. S is left and L is right, okay? So you will type in an F on your pointer finger, a D on your middle finger, and an S on your ring finger on your left hand, and a J using your pointer finger on your right hand, K with the middle, and L with the ring finger. Now you might be thinking, oh my goodness, there's no vowels in this. We can't actually make any words. Well, all of the vowels you will notice are right above here. And as I mentioned earlier, it may look like the letters are just kind of in a randomly placed area, but the letters are placed where they are intentionally. And, well, I guess one vowel is here on the left side, but they are... They're placed where they are on purpose so that it is easy to be able to mix both the left and the right hand and combine it with all of your other fingers to be able to fluidly type whatever it is that you're wanting to type. Okay? All right. So back at the lesson here, we've got the F and the J on our pointer fingers, the D and the K on our middle fingers, the S and the L on our ring fingers, and the A and the semicolon button on our pinkies. Okay, so now this button over here on our pinky is a unique button to what we've learned so far. This is a button that has two separate functions on it, okay? And the way to be able to shift the different functions of a key is to press the button that says shift. So what we can do is we can press the shift button using our left hand and then press, well, don't actually press it if you're watching it on a computer, just lift it and place it down. And using your pinky, like you should, press down or lift it and place it down on the correct key. Now what that will do is normally if we press on the semicolon key, this will do a semicolon. But if we press shift, it will do the one above and will actually make a colon for us, okay? Now, if we press shift and any key on this keyboard, it will do a different function, and that includes all of the letters. Now, if we press shift and any of the letters, what that will do is that will change it from lowercase to capital letters. The other way to be able to change the case of your letters is using this button here on the left. This is your caps lock button. Now, if you want for all of the letters that you are typing to be in uppercase, then you will use this caps lock button to be able to do that. I do not recommend using this button if you do not have a long string of letters that you are planning on using in uppercase. So for example, if I wanted to type my name in uppercase, I would hit the caps lock, and then I would type B-E-N in all uppercase letters. If I didn't want for it to be in all uppercase, you would have to hit the caps lock again so that it would remove the lock on the uppercase letters, and then we could type in B-E-N, and it would not be in uppercase. Now if I just want one uppercase letter, of course, I can hit the shift key, hit my name, or the first letter of my name, which is the B, remove my finger from the shift key, and then type E-N for that. Okay? So which finger hits on which key when it comes to these top rows and the bottom row? The center row here is pretty simple, and you've probably already guessed that with this G and H, you'll just move your index finger over. Okay? And from there, you will do what feels natural. So if you're typing an R, you may use this finger here. If you're typing an E, you may use your ring finger here. If you're typing in a U or an I, you may use your not ring finger, the I guess middle finger and index fingers for these. Pointer finger for the U and middle finger for the I, and whatever feels natural from there. The goal with typing is to be able to type without looking at your hands, and that is going to take quite a bit of practice. You're going to need to type frequently to be able to practice enough to be able to do so without looking at your hands. And if you do have to look at your hands to remind yourself where some of those letters are, you don't have to use the Q very frequently, or the Z or the X. That's okay to look down from time to time. No one's judging you. The more times that you make mistakes, the better that you are going to get, and the faster that you are going to become at continuing to type. Speaking of making mistakes, though, another key that is incredibly important is this backspace key up here in the top right. What that will do is if I am attempting to type a word and I type in the wrong letter. So say, for example, I'm typing my name, so I'm going to use the Shift key. Now, I don't have to use this one on the left. I could use this one on the right. They're both the same key. I'm going to hit the Shift key, and I'm going to type in my name, B. I'm going to let go of the Shift, E. And then instead of typing the N like I normally would, I'm accidentally going to hit the M key. Well, I accidentally typed the wrong thing, and that is not my name. So what I can do is I can come up here to the top right, and I can hit the backspace key, and then type the correct letter, hitting that N and finishing my name. Make sense? Anytime that you make a mistake, you can always use the backspace key to be able to correct whatever mistake that you've made. Okay, now let's take a look at the numbers. As I've mentioned here, there are two functions to every single number, or to every single key on the keyboard. And so we've got all of our numbers keys, but then we've also got a number of symbols that we've got there. So we've got the exclamation point here. We've got the @ symbol, which will be useful for emails, which we will talk about in an upcoming video. We've got the pound key, also known as a hashtag, which is commonly used in social media. We have got the $ here, the percentage, and a number of other keys continuing throughout the rest of these keys. To be able to use these additional symbols and functions, what you will do is you will use the Shift key and then press on whichever number that you would like to use the symbol for. Make sense? All right. So the rest of these keys are not things that you will need to learn right away, and we will talk about in future videos. Okay? So these Control, Alt, these Windows buttons here, as well as the other functions, don't worry about those. Just try to avoid pressing them, as they may cause different commands to be accomplished on the computer that you're not prepared for. But for this first lesson, I just want you to figure out exactly where you should be putting your hands and which letters that you should type with which finger. If you would like to be able to continue this and practice and actually do some typing, what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to pull up Microsoft Word or some sort of like word processing tool. To be able to do that, if you're on a computer at home, you can come down to this little search bar down here and you can type in WORD. Okay, now that will, if you have Microsoft Word on your computer, that'll pull that up and it'll be just like Word, whatever the year it is. We have at the library here, we have Word 2016. You could also use WordPad, which is free on all computers, so that should be available for you there. But if you come to the library, we'll get you on either of these. You can pull that up. We'll get you started with a blank document, and then just start typing some words that come into your mind. And make sure not to type just using just your index fingers. You really want to make sure that you are taking what we talked about in this video to heart. So say, for example, we want to do a word that starts with F. And so we'll do the word like fire truck. Okay. So by doing that, we are going to hit the letter F with our index finger.
I is a pretty natural key to hit with our middle finger on our right hand. And then RE, we're going to use our left hand for the pointer finger and the middle finger. And then, kind of just following along with the rest of the word there, just what finger feels natural as you continue throughout the rest of the word. Just think of a bunch of different words that you that you want to type down, and then type those words out. Until you kind of get the hang of where words are. And then what I highly recommend is that you check out some different word processing websites that you can do. Now, if you don't have internet at home or you don't know how to get on the internet, like I said, you can always come to the library, and we're happy to be able to help you out here. So if you want to write some more stuff down, I can show you which websites are going to be great for you to go to. So the first one I wanted to recommend, of course, like I mentioned earlier in the video, was learnfree.org. And so once again, really, really quickly there, what you'll do from the main homepage of learnfree.org, you'll click on topics, click on the typing tutorial, click on typing, and then you can start with either the learn or the practice from there. Okay. Now, the next one I would like to recommend is a website called typelit.io. It is typelit.io. This is a really cool website that will allow for you to get some practice typing while also typing like classic novels. And so you can scroll through the variety of options that are here. If you'd like to type in a different language, there are a bunch of different languages that you can do there. But, for example, like I'm a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, and so I can click on this and I can click on any part of the book, and it will allow for me to be able to type this out. Now, I had already started this earlier to test this out, but it's really neat how like the flashing light on the screen there will allow for us to know exactly where we're supposed to be to type, and you'll just type out the words. And if you make a mistake, it'll let you know. Peace and safety of a new dark age, period. The enter key is the button on the right-hand side of the keyboard there, and that is a button that will allow for us to be able to jump down a bunch of spaces, or a number of spaces, however many times that you hit that button. And this is a great tool for being able to type out. As you can see up here in the top right, it'll tell you how quickly that you're typing, as well as your accuracy as well. So that's kind of a neat tool if you like to read and you really would like to be able to learn how to type quicker. Typelit.io is a pretty fun one. But the last one I wanted to recommend is this website called ztype, which is zty.pe. And if you're a fan of old school arcade games, this is a pretty cool little game where you click on new game. And it's like, I think it's called, is it Galaxy Quest or Galaga? I don't know. One of those games, the old school games where there's a bunch of things on the top of the screen and you got to try to shoot them down. And the way that we do that is we type the words. So I can type in odd, sad, few, do. So this is a great game that is more of like an intermediate sort of thing, since there is like a speed challenge going on here, but it is free to play as well. So check out these games, check out, Microsoft Word, and make sure to do some practice. And the more that you practice, you'll find that the faster that you're going to get at typing. And hopefully one day you'll be a faster typer than I am. 65 words per minute isn't particularly like a super fast. I can type up to about 75 words per minute if I'm like really focusing. But there are people that can type in hundreds of words per minute. It's really just going really, really fast. And if the more that you practice, the more likely that you'll be able to get there as well. So thank you so much for watching this episode of the Digital Den mini class on our Back to Basics computer series. Coming up next week, we will be talking about the internet, which I know I touched on a little bit here at the end, talking about different websites to be able to get you going there. And again, if you can't get online to be able to learn more about typing, come on down to the library and we'll help you out with that, especially if the Digital Den is open. We're always happy to help out with whatever we can. And then next week, like I said, is the Internet Week, so we're going to be talking all about that. So I hope that you'll come back for that class, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.